The fastest and simplest way to find land-based fishing spots, both saltwater and freshwater, from the comfort of your home in seconds. Hey there, I'm Joe Simons, one of the co-founders here at Salt Strong, and throughout the years of our Insider Club membership, we've done a lot of cool things. The Smart Fishing Spots app, one of my personal favorites, the oyster bed layer on there, one of my favorites. This might beat all of it. And let me just show you real quick. This is the layer button here, and I'm inside of our app right now on the desktop version. Check this out, this public and private. I'm going to go through both. Let's do public first. And what this is doing, that only took, half a second. This now shows me with one little switch there, every single public piece of property from Texas to Florida, the Carolinas, Virginia, everywhere in between in seconds. Think about what this is going to do, guys. Now we know every single piece of property, and I can see who owns it. I can see if it's open access. I can see if there's any restrictions whatsoever. I can do this anywhere. If you're on vacation, boom, I know exactly where I can go walk to and legally fish from where no one can say a word to me. If I'm in an area that I hadn't fished before, I know exactly where I can legally go fish from land, where I can launch a kayak. And there's so many little places that we found, even in our own backyard. I'm not going to show all of them because this is a public video, and we're going to do a whole lot more for our Insider members. But we have found some crazy public access spots, both on the coast and inshore. I mean, I live in Winter Haven, Florida, and I found some cool areas around my neck of the woods in Polk County that I've always looked at. I've driven by. I'm like, man, I wonder if I'm allowed to fish there. And it turns out there's a couple that I could that are actual public properties that you're allowed to legally fish on, and no one can say a word to you. This is an absolute game changer. We all know about bridges and causeways, so that's not what this is about. This is about actually like public parcels. The same way that hunting, there's a couple hunting apps that do this. It changed the entire game for hunters, where in one click you could see who owned a piece of property and legally see if you could hunt there or not. This is huge, and now we have this for fishing, and this is only going to get better. For instance, if I click on this, it'll tell me who owns it. Obviously, Don Pedro Park, a lot of you locals know about that one. That's not a big secret, but a lot of these are, and it'll tell you who owns it, if there's any restrictions, and what we're going to do is give our members the ability to start putting notes and taking pictures so that this data only continues to keep getting better and better and better. As I said, we got it all over the place. I mean, you can go to both coasts. You can see all inland. I mean, it is absolutely mind-boggling. And I was blown away over here, like in the Fort Pierce area in St. Lucie and up into the Mosquito and Indian River, how many really cool spots that were completely public and that you're able to use. Another cool thing, let's just say, I believe, what's her name? Janice's dock or whatever was over here. If someone is sitting there yelling at you, can do something else here. And meaning, if you don't know the whole story, there was a lady who was trying to scream at an angler that was fishing in a kayak, and turns out she was wrong, and he was legally allowed to fish there. And so that's a nice little segue into going into the private land. So I'm going to turn this off just so we can not have any confusion with everything. And if I go private land, and I'll minimize this, what that's going to do is show me every single parcel, including their lot lines. So let's just say that this was Janice's dock. It's not, but I could click on this. I could see exactly who owns it. So I could have been talking to Susan and Paul here. And I could say, actually, you know what? I'm fishing right over here. And you could, pinpoint exactly where you are with this app. And I'm actually fishing in an area that you don't own, so you can't say much to me. And we have found a few places, ironically, where the property line does go further out. So this is really, really, really big. And if you've never used anything like this, a lot of real estate agents use and have separate apps for this where you can see who owns something. You can see the year it was built. You can see acreage and stuff like that. I have an app for this personally. It's called Landglide. It's a great app. Nothing against Landglide, but Landglide only does this one thing. They don't do the public thing. They don't do oyster beds, reefs, boat ramps, and all the other cool stuff that we have. And of course, not smart spots and shady relief and marine charts, 1-foot contour lines, all the cool things that we have in this app. They only do this one thing right here, where you can see who owns property. And so you can only imagine it's $100 a year. I'm going to be deleting that here probably any day, if not today. Absolutely nuts, right? What the power of what we can do now here in this one app. My favorite, obviously, is the land-based area. I take a lot of vacations with the family. I like to know if I can just take my travel rod and walk down somewhere without getting harassed. Really, really quite the game changer. But now, I mean, just this one piece of having all the private. Wow, look at this. You can see every single property. I love this. And I personally I love going around the pontoon boat and lakes and seeing who owns different properties. I don't know. I'm just always curious and kind of fascinated by it. But on top of this, which would normally cost you $100 in most apps, now we have all of the other things. And of course, we have the tide, the weather, and all the other great things that everyone loves about smart fishing spots, including, the actual smart spots. If you don't know about that, I'll turn that off real quick and just show you. And these smart spots are following the fish around as they move. So these highlight the most likely spots that will hold redfish, speckled trout, snook, and flounder for that given day and tide, etc. But this public land thing, this is going to be an absolute game changer. Click on anything, it tells you if you can fish it or not. There's some areas like that some areas are closed for whatever reason, and there's some that are just completely off limits, like a couple of bases, and meaning military bases, Cape Canaveral area. If you can't be near the shuttle launch and things like that. But other than that, this is just absolutely mind-boggling. What kind of doors this opens for both land-based anglers, kayak anglers who just want to find a quick little road and a path where they could dump a kayak in. And even just people fishing in general from boats and kayaks around shores and don't want to get harassed, and knowing where they can walk up, take pictures, etc., camp out, all that cool stuff. So love to hear your feedback on this. We'll have a whole lot more coming. I just want to do a quick little video tutorial and show you how exciting this news is. And yes, this works in Texas. We have this all over the place. I just happen to live here in Florida and wanted to show the Florida. Look at this. Wow. And I mentioned too, inland. I mean, we have all this stuff going all the way through the entire state. It's mind-boggling. I could play with this for days. It is so cool. So thank you guys. If you haven't joined the club, or if you're wondering how do you get access to this, just join the Insider Club. The entire Smart Fishing app, including all the tackle discounts and the tutorials and the fishing college, all the fishing school, all that stuff is yours when you join the club. And the Smart Fishing Spots, that was just a new freebie we added on for our members. So if you're already a member, this will be in your app. It's on the desktop version as well. And if you're not a member, go to saltstrom.com and join today. Cannot wait to see you in there. And I cannot wait to hear your feedback on this new feature. Whoop, whoop.